Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for the gnarliest, bloodiest, or simply most painful times characters in movies have met their maker. We won't include animated films here since that deserves its own list.
You are...
I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business.
Number 50. Caught and Shot. Burn after reading.
We can find out where he lives, right?
I guess.
You should change into a suit.
Why?
So you don't stand out in his neighborhood. There are certain elemental
His
things,
neighborhood?
Chad.
Take it from Chad Feldheimer. Ex-CIA analysts could be very trigger-happy. Then again, Chad is the one who broke into Cox's house in the first place. After being discovered in the closet, Chad doesn't even have time to beg before Cox's training kicks into high gear. It's an abrupt explosion of violence that has your eyes desperately trying to catch up with the action on screen, especially since it's all adorned with the Coen brothers' signature brand of stylish, over-the-top carnage. The lesson here is to never hide in a closet, or better yet, don't steal from government officials in the first place.
What the are you doing here, you f***er?
Number 49. Feeling Gassy. Zoolander. With laughter aplenty and poppy music blaring in the background, it seems like Zoolander and his posse can make even a gas pump a source of fun. But all it takes is one numbskull to light a cigarette for the whole thing to go up in flames. Literally.
Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on the line. Yo. Wake me up before
Zoolander turns around to face a comically overblown explosion and the realization that his friends have officially gone the way of the dodo. While realistic is hardly a word people use to describe 2001's Zoolander, the absurd means of death is just crazy enough to leave a lasting impression, even if it is a painful one.
Rufus, Brent, and Mikas were like brothers to me. And when I say brother, I don't mean like an actual brother, but I mean it like the way black people use it.
Number 48. Snoke divided by two. Star Wars Episode 8. The Last Jedi.
Yes, I see him turning the lightsaber to strike true. And now, foolish child, he ignites it and kills his true enemy.
The big bad of the galaxy far, far away didn't end up being all that hard to beat. In the end, it simply came down to timing. Rey's lightsaber just so happened to be sitting on Snoke's throne during her interrogation. All it took was a little help from Kylo Ren, and the villain ended up a few pounds thinner and without a connected torso. Star Wars is supposed to be a family-friendly franchise too, but while we all knew Snoke wouldn't win, seeing him cut down to size in such literal fashion is still a shock, not to mention wince-inducing.
Oh, still that fiery spit of hope.
Number 47. Burning Breakup. Midsommar. Everyone knows breakups are messy, but as long as your ex doesn't burn you alive in a cult ritual, you're doing better than Christian. His vacation ended with cheating, trauma, and being marked for sacrifice. Once his girlfriend Danny learned of his sins, she was happy to watch it all go down. Now paralyzed and stuffed in a bizarre bear carcass, the look on Christian's face as the tent burns down around him is downright soul-crushing. But even so, it's Danny's expression that takes the cake. It's one thing to sacrifice your ex-boyfriend. It's another to look so happy about it. Number 46. Hook, Line, and Sinker. Mission Impossible Fallout. Say what you will, but at least August Walker went out with one of the franchise's best fights. There's no fancy stunts or last-minute heists here. It's just pure fisticuffs action. Did we mention they're on a cliffside too? And the hook is about to give? It's the latter that ends Walker's career. Let's just say the pointy end goes careening, and his face is in the wrong place at the wrong time. To add insult to injury, his body then takes a very long plummet to the bottom of the ravine. If you manage to watch this without grimacing, congratulations, you have a stronger stomach than we do. Number 45. Reheated. The last house on the left.
What are you doing, Doc?
Ah, the trusty microwave. Good for reheating leftovers and, with some tinkering, getting revenge too. Krug made the mistake of messing with the Collingwoods. And as retribution for his heinous acts, he gets to see the inside of a kitchen appliance. At least, for a little bit.
You're gonna be fine.
Wait.
Without getting into the specifics, we'll leave it at the fact that this microwave is the very last thing Krug ever sees. It's certainly an inventive way to get revenge, but it does require a lot of cleaning. Something tells us over-the-counter dish soap isn't gonna cut it. Number 44. John's Adventures in Babysitting. The Babysitter.
How you like it? Let me know. You want them quick or you want them long?
Watching over a preteen can be dangerous work, particularly if you're trying to use their blood in a demonic ritual. John learns the hard way that, even before puberty, Cole is not as easy to push around. In fact, it's John who ends up getting shoved.
Hey, this ain't Home Alone. Oh.
He stumbles back, trips over a toy car, and tumbles right over the banister. If the sickening crack doesn't put him out of his misery, John's neck then lands smack dab in a very pointy award. Even for a demon worshiper, falling over a railing and getting impaled just feels like overkill, you know?
In the jugular.
Get him.
Number 43. Drive, Baby Drive. Baby Driver.
Come on! You must move this car. I'm gonna blow your hell. 3, 2, move now! 1!
This death is the epitome of the phrase, "You asked for it." Baby's one job is to be the getaway driver. However, an ill-timed crisis of faith causes Bats to lash out. He tells Baby to drive and, well, Baby listens. He puts pedal to the metal and smashes the car right into the vehicle in front of them. Bad news for Bats, the other vehicle has some cargo that slices into the windshield and clean through his chest. We say we feel sorry for him, but A, he's a criminal, and B, he did tell Baby to drive. Let this be a lesson to always treat your getaway drivers nicely. Number 42. A Father's Sacrifice. The Mist.
I'll figure something out.
No one expected a horror film based on a Stephen King story to end with a happily ever after. But this is grim, even for the genre. David and his crew have just narrowly escaped the monsters of the mist, only for them to realize that there's simply no hope. Humanity is over. Even worse is the fact that David's gun doesn't have enough bullets for all of them. For the sake of the others, he makes an unforgettable decision. It's a remarkably moving ending, or it would have been if the US Army didn't immediately drive by. They've presumably retaken control, meaning David's sacrifice was unnecessary. Yeah, we're still recovering from the whiplash too. Number 41. Killer Stunt. Death Proof. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Multiply that by 3 and you've got Death Proof, an underrated Tarantino gem with one crazy finale. Instead of adhering to the genre conventions, the final act of the film sees the trio of tormented ladies team up to give stuntman Mike a taste of his own medicine. And what better way to do it than with teeth, nails, and a metal pipe? It's excessively violent. This is Tarantino we're talking about after all, and yet, after everything stuntman Mike put them through, it's hard not to feel a bit vindicated by this bloody reversal. Number 40. Shattered Skylight. Cult of Chucky.
Compressed. Does that mean what I think it means?
In an ironic twist of fate, Claire is doomed by the very people trying to help her. The doctors brush off her concerns as hysterical ramblings and strap her down just in time for one of Chucky's most sadistic kills ever. The worst part? He barely lifts a finger. All the killer doll does is break the overhead skylight. Gravity does the rest. If you think there's a chance Claire can escape the rain shower of glass with only a few nicks, you're mistaken. A particularly large shard ensures heads roll, and that's not a figure of speech. Number 39. Manson Mayhem. Once upon a time in Hollywood.
I am doing the best I can under the circumstances. Now, I do not want to get into it tonight. Can I help you?
Blood, chaos, flamethrowers. Yep, this is a Tarantino movie, all right. Some might even say one of his best. That's in no small part due to the absolutely unhinged massacre at the film's climax. You've got a World War II vet and a dog against a group of Charlie Manson followers, and, well, carnage ensues. The ringleader, Sadie, gets the worst of it. She's stabbed, stumbles through a glass door, and then is promptly set on fire. We'd say it's excessive, but this is Quentin Tarantino. For him, this is just a Tuesday. A particularly gruesome Tuesday, but a Tuesday nonetheless.
And the guy hippie said he was the devil, and he said, I'm here to do some devil shit. That's not verbatim, but...
Number 38. Wood Chipper Woes. Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
This door had better not charge me for this. Yep.
Oh, Mike. He definitely gets points for trying to be the hero, but when it comes to execution, it's zeros across the board. The grand plan is to surprise Dale from behind while he's throwing branches in the wood chipper. However, Mike seriously mistimes his attack, and when he jumps, well, he doesn't end up on Dale's back, that's for sure. If there's any mercy to be found, it's the fact that Mike went into his fate head first, meaning he didn't have to suffer for too long. Although, something tells us it was still plenty painful.
All right, look, I'm gonna wedge it from that side and you pull him out on 3. Okay. Right? Yep. 1, 2.
Number 37. Ironing out a guard. X2.
Have a nice sleep, Lyncher.
Trapping the master of magnetism in a plastic prison cell should have been foolproof. Unfortunately, the government didn't account for Mystique. Shrewd as ever, she injects one of Magneto's guards with a heaping dose of iron. It's just enough for the mutant to craft a tool to break himself out.
What are you doing?
There it is. Too much iron in your blood.
But first, he has to forcibly remove every shred of magnetic material from the guard's blood. Just thinking about it makes our skin crawl. Magneto's murder really pushes the limit of X2's PG-13 rating. Actually, the fact that this was made into a superhero movie at all is surprising. Aren't these supposed to be family-friendly?
Miss Deloria, never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you.
Number 36. Splat, Crackle, and Pop. The Cabin in the Woods.
Don't hold back.
Never do.
Another day, another heroic survivor subjected to a cruel end. This time, it's Steve Hadley, the jock of the story who bucks his stereotype by volunteering to leap across the ravine with his motorcycle. It's dangerous, but it's the group's only shot at getting help. For a moment, you even think Steve might make it. That is until splat. These villains thought of everything, and that includes creating an impenetrable barrier around the cabin's property. Still, Steve's noble attempt deserves its flowers. Unfortunately, we can't give them to him since what's left of his body is now at the bottom of the ravine.
He hit something. There's nothing. What did he hit?
Puppeteers. Marty was right.
Number 35. Ishii loses her head. Kill Bill Volume 1. As one of the greatest revenge stories ever told, it's only natural that the first stage of Beatrix's plan ends with her sword stained red. For what it's worth, though, Oren Ishii puts up one hell of a fight. The scene boasts incredible performances, masterful direction, and gorgeous scenery that all culminate in a final cathartic swing. In layman's terms, Beatrix gives Ishii a quick shave, one that sends the top of her head flying. The rest of Ishii, though, is still catching up with reality. The snow doesn't stay white for very long after this. Number 34. Head Stomp. Halloween.
Say something, Michael. Say something.
In what might be the worst science experiment ever conducted, Dr. Ranbir Sartain let Michael Myers out of jail to see how he'd react in the real world. Spoiler alert, he kills people. A lot of them. Fittingly, Sartain gets the crudest of all. Even as he's face-to-face with Michael, the doctor spends his final breaths asking to hear the killer's voice. Michael, however, tells him to talk to the foot and crushes every identifying part of Sartain with a single, sickening boot drop.
Say something.
If you have a weak stomach, we recommend looking away from Sartain's remains. Even for Michael, this one is stomach-churning. Number 33. Joker the Illusionist. The Dark Knight.
How about a magic trick?
Who knew the Joker was an amateur magician? For his first trick, he makes a pen disappear in horrifying fashion. First things first, he stands it up on the table. Then he lines up the head of one of Gotham's unlucky mobsters. At that point, it's just a matter of force, gravity, and conviction, and presto, the pen is gone.
It's gone.
Along with any doubt that the Joker means business. As for what happened to the poor mobster Joker selected for his trick, well, now you see him, now you don't.
All right, so listen, why don't you give me a call when you want to start taking things a little more seriously? Here's my card.
Number 32. UFO No. Nope.
Welcome to the Star Lasso Experience. Only at Jupiter's Claim. Please remember to avoid using your cell phones or any flash photography during the event.
Playing with powers well outside his control, Jupe's roadside UFO attraction only succeeded in dooming everyone in attendance. This time, when the ship appears, it feasts, and the sight is not for the faint of heart. Credit where it's due, Nope's visual style and incredible sound design completely sell the weight of this indescribable abduction. But that's a dual-edged sword considering the UFO's meal is straight-up nightmare fuel, even for horror veterans. When you combine the dark close-ups with terrified screams and disturbing sound effects, we only have one word left to say. Nope. Number 31. An explosive finale. Ingenious Bastards.
Das gehört nicht dazu.
Instead of a post-credit scene, this movie within a movie ends with fire and gunshots. Ingenious Bastards knew it had to go out with a bang, so it set the theater ablaze with all kinds of chaotic violence. It sounds overdramatic, but for Joseph Goebbels and Adolf Hitler, we'll make an exception. You've got the bullets raining down, blood spewing, smoke circling everywhere, and even time bombs hidden under the seats. There were no cut corners in this operation, but it all paid off with Ingenious Bastards offering up one of the most satisfying villain deaths in cinematic history. Number 30. Team 1 gets cut. The Suicide Squad. Hardened criminals or not, no one was making it off this beach alive. The operation starts with blackguards selling the team out and ends with a bullet storm the likes of which you may never see in a superhero movie ever again.
They're right behind me. Whoa, hey, guys, whoa, we got a deal, right?
The Suicide Squad takes some heavy casualties, to put it lightly. There's also an exploding, fiery helicopter crash, just in case this beachside massacre wasn't dramatic enough. Yeah, we don't blame Savant for turning tail and running.
Savant, I'm warning you, this is desertion.
Although he doesn't get very far before Waller pulls the plug on him, too. Hey, you don't get a name like the Suicide Squad if you aren't expendable. Number 29. A total wash. Serenity. There's unexpected, there's abrupt, and then there's whatever happened to Hoban Washburn. The Serenity pilot had just navigated the crew through a nail-biting crossfire and even pulled off a miraculous crash landing too.
Backup reads 20%. Can you get us down?
I'm gonna have to glide her in.
Will that work?
Then, as he's beginning to clap himself on the back, bang! A rogue spear blasts through the cockpit and impales him right in the chest. It doesn't just happen in the middle of a scene, it happens in the middle of a sentence.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Giving Wash his moment of glory and then immediately taking it away isn't just gruesome, it's downright cruel. Number 28. Hotshot. Dredd. Hostage negotiators should take notes from Judge Dredd. His terms are pretty fair. If the girl goes free, the croc can peacefully live out his days behind bars. The other option? Well, it leans towards the cruel and unusual. Predictably, the villain tests his luck, and if Dredd's anything, he's a man of his word. A single gunshot later, and the guy has a mouthful of Dredd's heat bullets.
I heard you, hotshot.
What?
I said, hotshot.
He can't even utter his last words before his whole head has erupted like a baking soda volcano. The verdict is in. Never test Judge Dredd.
Is your pursuit resolved?
Affirmative.
Number 27. Emily's Last Meal. The Invisible Man. Horror films always have a few unlucky victims, but Emily is the saddest of all. Her only crime was hearing her sister out, and in doing so, she puts herself right in harm's way.
James actually is a 6-foot cop, and he's, I think, really intimidated by you.
As he should be. I'd kick his ass. I would.
Once Emily learned about the possibility of the invisibility suit, she had to be cut from the equation. And we do mean cut. There isn't even time to process what's going on before Emily is gone.
What is it? It's some kind of suit that Adrian has built. And it has cameras, and it somehow... What?
Even worse, she was at a dinner with her sister, who is then promptly framed for the murder. He may be invisible, but this villain's body count is all too real. Number 26. Roasting over an open fire. The menu. At the island restaurant Hawthorne, the entree is bloodshed. The sides come with social critiques, and it's all washed down with a tall glass of black humor. Oh, and dessert? You'll never forget it. Chef Slowick's signature s'mores recipe calls for a secret ingredient. Everyone on the island.
The purifying flame. It nourishes us, warms us, reinvents us, forges, and destroys us.
He isn't a monster, though. He sweetens the deal with some sugary additions. Adorned with marshmallow helmets, chocolate toupees, and graham cracker suits of armor, the staff and guests all submit to Hawthorne's final dinner service.
We can be subsumed and made anew.
Thank you.
It's probably the first and only time you'll see a restaurant of people die via s'mores. Number 25. X marks the spot. Deadpool 2. Despite his penchant for quips, the merc with a mouth isn't exactly a great team leader. Case in point, the X-Force is almost entirely wiped out on their very first mission. It's not pretty. In fact, most of them don't even hit the ground. At least, not in one piece.
Left! Left! You'd have to be insane to take off in this. No, stage left, you idiot!
Whether it's by public transportation, helicopter propellers, or good old-fashioned wood chippers, most of the X-Force end up dead and buried in exceedingly grotesque fashion. And Vanisher, well, his demise is the most shocking of all. Since this is still a Deadpool movie, it's all played for laughs. But that doesn't make the reality any less disturbing.
But there is a slight chance Vanisher could make it. Nope, no chance. He's dead.
Number 24. Mightier Than the Sword. John Wick Chapter 2.
He owed me. I had every right. And now, he's coming again.
When you think of a hitman's weapon of choice, a measly pencil probably doesn't come to mind. But this is John Wick we're talking about. It has a sharp point. That's all he needs to absolutely shred through enemies. When two assassins try to double team him, he uses the writing utensil like an X-Acto knife, causing enough damage to leave you queasy. John certainly gets points for creativity, even if it is hard to watch at points. That pencil is going to need a serious cleaning after this fight. That's all we're saying.
You pull it out, you will bleed and you will die.
This is the end of the line.
Consider this a professional courtesy.
Number 23. Barbaric. Cocaine Bear.
See anything?
Just can you help? Can you help?
Like all great movies, this sophisticated think piece asks a very important moral question. Can a coked-up black bear outrun a speeding ambulance? These paramedics have to learn the hard way that the answer is, unequivocally, yes. Look, Cocaine Bear is all kinds of insane. But seeing a high-speed car chase turn into an on-the-run bear feast is just something else. Whatever you think you're prepared for, we promise you, this scene is even crazier. The paramedics could try calling another ambulance, but something tells us they may have better luck with animal control next time. Number 22. Wolverine's Last Hunt. Logan. With his regenerative abilities failing him, Wolverine stepped into this fight knowing full well it could be his final stand.
Go to your friends. Go.
But all things considered, battling his clone to save his quasi-daughter is the most poetic ending Logan could have hoped for. That doesn't make it a happy goodbye, though. Between Logan, Laura, and X-24, there's a lot of adamantium claws bloodying things up. Logan takes it all like a champ, but not even he can bounce back from a tree branch in his midsection.
This is what it feels like.
It's a wince-inducing farewell to Wolverine that's soaked with both blood and tears. Number 21. Unmasking Immortan Joe. Mad Max Fury Road. There's no such thing as mercy in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Immortan Joe should know that better than anyone, so it's only fitting that he reaps what he sowed at the hands of Furiosa, who chains his iconic mask to the wheel of his vehicle. The truck keeps going, the chain goes taut, and Immortan Joe loses his face covering. And a lot of other stuff too. You get the picture.
Remember me?
It's the kind of haunting end that only gets worse the more you think about it. But then again, we can't say Immortan Joe didn't have it coming.
He's dead! He's dead!
Number 20. Georgie meets Pennywise. It. Georgie's parents taught their youngest son not to take things from strangers. However, that didn't stop the killer clown Pennywise from striking up a deeply uncomfortable conversation with the boy.
Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers, are we?
The scene stews in spine-tingling tension just long enough to make the eventual jump scare downright unforgettable. For his friendliness, Georgie lost his boat, his arm, and his life. The pained cries for his brother are haunting no matter how you cut it, let alone from a 6-year-old child. It set a sinister precedent for Pennywise's rampage throughout the rest of the film. Number 19. Meet the Grinder. Kingsman, the Golden Circle. More often than not, traitors and villains end up in handcuffs by the time the credits roll.
So those are your principles? Making money? Our agencies were founded to uphold peace, to protect the innocent.
Except in this case, there isn't a hand left to cuff. Pedro Pascal's traitorous whiskey put his personal vendetta above the mission. But all he got was a much-deserved beatdown courtesy of Eggsy and Harry Hart. The two agents didn't just stop at fisticuffs, though, and they decided whiskey was better left as a paste instead of a man. As far as painful ends go, diving headfirst into a meat processor has got to be pretty high on the list. Number 18. Flipping Out. Final Destination 5.
A lucky few survive the disaster, and then one by one, death comes for them all.
Death will not be thwarted. In the 5th entry of this horror franchise, the first named character, Death, is the most brutal. Candace's fatal gym practice is full of misdirects and dead ends, conjuring an unbearable sense of dread to every move. In the end, though, it all comes down to gravity, namely a rather botched landing. Candace definitely earned a few deductions on this one, and that's putting it lightly. It's just a mercy that the aftermath is obscured until the dust settles, which leaves plenty of time to look away from the disturbingly mangled remains.
She was doing great. She was almost finished with her routine, and then...
Number 17. Spine-tingling. Predators. It's a cardinal rule of horror that the villain always comes back for one last scare. But evidently, Stans hadn't brushed up on the topic before gloating about killing the predator.
Who you think you're dealing with, huh? No, you got... Go!
The creature doesn't take it very kindly and treats the death row inmate to a shot in the back and a very rough spinal surgery. As if the visuals alone weren't bad enough, the sickening sound effects prove that it doesn't feel very nice. At least Stans bought enough time for his team to get away.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
Number 16. David Devoured, Shaun of the Dead. By the time all is said and done, this guy probably wished he would hurry up and zombify already. Admittedly, it's hard to feel too bad for David's demise, especially since he's the one who decided to start removing the barricade in the first place.
Right, I'm leaving.
What?
Not staying here.
All it did was put him on a silver platter for the zombies, who didn't stop feasting until his insides were on the outside. A single bite would have done the same thing, and been a lot less painful. But hey, at least Diane found a use for his detached leg. Quite frankly, it's the biggest help David had been in the whole movie.
Well, how did you get in?
There is a back door, David. I tried to tell you before you went and smashed the window.
Number 15. A Dance to Die For, Ghost Ship. This adds new meaning to the phrase, dance like there's no tomorrow, since, for most of these passengers, there wouldn't be one. After all, the only thing sharper than these dance moves was the razor wire that swept the crowd, and not in a fun way. The result is a remarkably bloody, inventive, and effective massacre that lives on in horror infamy. Honestly, we can't decide what's worse, death by division or being the only one left in an actual sea of bodies. At least it was quick because, judging by the force of the wire, it most certainly wasn't painless. Number 14. Illuminati No More, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. No one expects a so-called superhero to stain their hands red, much less in a family-friendly Marvel film.
I made mistakes, and people were hurt.
But given the history of director Sam Raimi, it shouldn't have come as a shock when Wanda upgraded to supervillain, or that she went on an absolute massacre through the multiverse. From Black Bolt's implosion to shredding Reed Richards to Peggy's bisection, each of her murders are more gruesome than the last. It's all compounded by the fact that this is coming from a former Avenger of all people. Suffice it to say, the Scarlet Witch lived up to her name by embracing a different shade of red.
You're familiar with the Darkhold?
I know it's the Book of the Damned, and that it corrupts everything and everyone that it touches. I wonder what it's done to you.
Number 13. Face Off, Jason X. In this futuristic slasher film, everyone's favorite hockey masked killer found some equally forward-thinking ways to dispose of his victims. Unfortunately for Adrian, that meant a swirly into liquid nitrogen. On its own, a face of severe frostbite is creative enough to stand out even in Jason's esteemed kill catalog. But no one's ever accused this horror icon of shirking on his work. At least, not the kind that involves putting people into body bags. So instead of letting Adrian succumb to her very fatal wounds, he decides to shatter her skull into bloody crystals. You know, just for good measure.
Jason Voorhees. He killed nearly 200 people and simply disappeared without a trace.
Number 12. A Splitting Headache, Apostle. While this macabre execution definitely earns points for creativity, that doesn't make it any easier to watch.
I'm merciful. Am I not?
How could you? How could
He shall be cleansed!
The poor Jeremy is framed for the murder of his lover and sentenced to a slow and agonizing death by makeshift drill. Not only is it a shockingly vile way to go, but the fact that the entire village has to watch makes it that much worse. Seeing some of them lose their lunch at the sight says more than the drill itself does. After all, if this is too much for even the cultists to stomach, it's no wonder the scene is a total jaw-dropper to the uninitiated.
Pray for him.
Number 11. Jonah Served Up, The Green Inferno. This bloody demise is beyond savage.
They have the munchies! They have the munchies!
Help me!
Sorry, I can't.
As they say, no good deed goes unpunished, and Jonah's well-intentioned activism results in his dismemberment. He basically becomes an action figure to the natives, complete with limbs and organs that easily pop out of place. It's plain disgusting in every sense of the word, especially when the cannibals feast upon the remains as if they were a delicacy, and all in front of his friends too. The only small mercy is that the villagers started with his head, putting him out of his misery before they finished their plates. So there's that.
I can smell him. Oh my god, I can smell my friend being cooked.
Number 10. Lawn maintenance. Sinister. These may be forgotten tapes of other families, but they have more in common with horror films than home videos. The footage starts out innocent enough, but there's still a certain unsettling quality to the grainy filter. Then, just when it seems the danger seems to have passed, suddenly the mower isn't only cutting grass anymore. The shrill score sells it as one of the genre's most effective jump scares, but the actual mode of death is nothing to forget either. Even putting aside the pain of it all, the victims had to endure torment at the hands of one of their own, which is just a different kind of demented.
So this might be more of a cult initiation rather than, the actual actions of any one man.
Number 9. Going Down. Drive. This hyper-violent action thriller delivered an unforgettable assassination in the tight confines of an elevator before it even reached its floor.
Sorry, yeah. Wrong floor.
It's all done without a single word uttered, or even a weapon for that matter. All it took was a small space, a worthy pair of kickers, and a whole lot of rage. Ryan Gosling's titular driver just doesn't quit, even when the hitman is clearly down for the count. The end result is a man with a puddle where his face should be. It's a stunning sequence that's remembered just as much for its brutality as it is for its technical merits. Number 8. Slice and Dice. Final Destination 2. Even in a series known for offing its cast in exceedingly dramatic fashion, this was a rough way to go. Surprisingly, it wasn't the exploding car that kills Rory, or at least, not directly.
Rory!
That honor, or dishonor, belongs to a barbed wire fence, which gets blasted with enough force to do more than shave a few pounds off. In the end, all Rory, or rather the pieces of him, can do is slowly fall to the ground like the uneven layers of human cake. As far as dismemberments go, this one cuts the deepest, if only because of that sickening aftermath.
You're gonna die after me, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Would you take these?
Number 7. Twisted. Suspiria. What makes this horrifying scene even worse is that Olga's last dance wasn't actually her own.
First do it alone, then. We don't want to put the others at risk.
Instead, it was choreographed by the unknowing Susie, who created a routine that's practically to die for. It contorts Olga's body into a gross tangle of limbs that's just difficult to look at, let alone experience. The unflinching savagery easily positions it as one of the most ruthless body horror scenes in any movie, period. Afterwards, the matrons grab her with hooks and use her for their ritual. Olga didn't technically die here, but given what transpired after, she probably wished she had.
I'm not usually dizzy.
An occasional collapse is a vocational hazard, I'm afraid.
Number 6. Nick gets halved. Bone Tomahawk. Getting imprisoned by cannibals rarely spells good fortune, but the utter lack of humanity here puts it in a league of its own. At this point, it was already clear that the so-called troglodytes were not friendly. However, watching them strip and scalp Nick conveys their brutality in a way words never could. So much so that we can't show most of this scene here. The camera rarely points away from the bloodshed, which makes it an endurance test of sorts as the humiliation escalates. The desecration ends with them tearing him in two. Watching them eat his remains after the fact feels particularly callous considering everything they just put him through.
Why did you say it?
If they were
doing that to me. It's the only thing I'd want to hear.
That you'd be avenged.
Number 5. A smashing affair. Pan's Labyrinth. We've all seen the bottom of the bottle during a night out. Unfortunately for this suspected rebel, Captain Vidal showed him a more literal meaning of the phrase.
Yo subí al monte, capitán, para cazar conejos, para mis hijas que me se han puesto enfermas.
Conejos.
In doing so, he left the victim's skull looking more like a crater than a head. However, even that abrupt flash of gore isn't as spine-tingling as the complete calm in which Vidal does it. It's clear he's done this before, and will do it again if given the opportunity. He had a gun on him after all, so the fact that he chose to personally and violently dispatch the farmer speaks volumes. Number 4. A good head on her shoulders. Hereditary. Evidently, iconic death scenes run in the family.
Who's gonna take care of me?
Excuse me, you don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die...
No doubt Annie's throat massage with a piano wire was the greatest kind of shocking send-off a character could hope for. But despite Payman's best efforts, even that can't top the unmitigated shock of Charlie's abrupt decapitation. It's the ultimate bloody surprise during a scene that demands its audience focus on anything but the coming telephone pole. While it's hard to say if Charlie's nut allergy would have claimed her anyway, it certainly would have been a less violent way to go. If anything, it would have left the Graham family with a lot less trauma.
I just want to die!
Number 3. Crucifixion. The Passion of the Christ. Director Mel Gibson made sure this film earned its R rating, that's for sure. No matter how controversial the resulting violence may be, there's no denying it crafted one very memorable death scene. The movie puts an immense, prolonged, and almost gratuitous focus on the suffering that Jesus endured during his crucifixion. That means showing everything, blood and all. Even though it's adapted from revered source material, seeing it performed in a mainstream blockbuster is an entirely different experience. The excessive violence and somber score make the scene more unpleasant than uplifting. But then again, that seems to be the whole point.
Tanadami. Tbretha Hadatha Tihivlakom Watrabin Dimashle Hatayin. Udu Denala Dekrani.
Number 2. Bedroom Butchering. Terrifier 2. Even psychopathic killers need a refreshment every now and then. But once he's rehydrated, Art the Clown does what he does best: terrify. He's not one to make false promises either. By the time his torment of Allie is over, she's lost skin, limbs, and has suffered broken bones to boot. Then Art decides to season his new victim with salt and bleach, even going as far as rubbing it into her wounds. Clearly, this is a dish best served with a barf bag.
Allie! Have you been handing out candy? That bowl is still filled to the brim.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. On Acid. Saw 6. Admittedly, this horror franchise has no shortage of gory, horrifying, and downright nasty modes of death.
Live or die, William. Make your choice.
Look no further than the twisted rack scene from Saw 3. Or how about the sadistically creative reverse bear trap from Saw 3D? No matter where you look, there's plenty of blood to satisfy genre diehards, and yet none of that compares to William's death by acid. It might not sound all that bad until you realize that he doesn't just die. He dies from the inside out. What remains can't even be called a body anymore. If this isn't Jigsaw's sick magnum opus, we don't know what is.
The choice is yours.
Did we miss any wince-worthy deaths? Let us know in the comments below.
Who wants to send a message to Germany?
I have message for Germany. That you are all going to die.